Hi there, welcome to part 2 of the video series on immigration and living through the first quarter of immigration. Now this is part 2, so we will be talking about the application of universal laws, as well as how we can practice love, in particular using the Holy Trinity of love in my world, which is thinking love, speaking love and doing love. So if we just jump into the first one, which is all about thinking love during the first quarter of your immigration, right? And the target audience, you're an actual immigrant, you're about to do so, or you just immigrated and you're actually living through the first quarter. Now, excuse me, patience and resilience is something that I encourage you to all think about. Adjusting to a new country, which is a significant milestone in changing your life, takes a lot of time and effort, right? Be patient with yourself in the process and understand that it's actually really normal for you to feel a variety of emotions, okay? And now, as I mentioned, as one of the universal laws that I have observed in my life is the cycle. And if we talk about a 12-week cycle, it starts off quite high, goes up, and then it slowly starts heading down to where you might be hitting the rock bottom at about week 6 or 7. And then after a range of sort of low vibration emotions, you might be going up and up steadily. When you hit the rock bottom, say week 6 or 7, you may be feeling emotions of homesickness and cultural shock. You might be doubting your whole decision to have relocated, or to have relocated to the particular place where you're residing. Whereas prior to that moment, when you think about your first couple of weeks, say the first or the second week, when you have just relocated, you're working on a lot of excitement. That's what you might be feeling. You might be feeling joy and happiness because traveling itself is exciting, and you're hopeful, right? You're just looking forward, you're visualizing what that life might look like, and you're working on this assumption and feelings of gratitude and appreciation and just absolute love and joy for what's about to come. But then week say 3 or 4, the reality starts kicking in, the practical challenges or the obstacles. Things might not be going as well as you had hoped, and slowly, as I mentioned, during that cycle, things might be going down, not abruptly, but slowly. And then, as I mentioned, during week 6 and 7, that's when sort of the reality really kicks in, and you might be feeling quite low, which is totally normal, and that's the whole point. So the best advice I can give in terms of thinking love during that time is cultivate resilience and stay positive as you adapt to the new surroundings and where you're at, and trust in the confidence. My belief in that cycle is that once you hit the rock bottom, it's like something turns, or the wheel turns, and steps will unfold in front of you in your reality that will give you that little bit of mental clarity and a boost of practical steps about what you can take next to improve your situation or the circumstances you're in. And once you take that first step, things will improve bit by bit, and so after week 6, 7 or 8, you will feel like things are improving, okay? You're departing from that rock bottom week 6 type feeling that you may have been going through. Now, another thing that you can do in terms of thinking love, embrace the opportunities for personal growth. So moving to a new country presents a chance for your own personal growth and development, right? Every kind of new experience gives you that opportunity to grow or develop in one way or another. And on this channel, I'm all about encouraging people to practice love. So literally on a daily basis, when you have immigrated during that first quarter, see if you can actually practice love, whether that's thinking love, speaking love, or doing love. And I truly hope that this video might actually give you some practical ideas as to what you could do. Now, step out of your comfort zone. The fact that you're in a new place of living, residence, means that you're already outside your comfort zone, and see it as a positive. and give yourself some pep talk, like saying words, thinking words of, to the tune of saying, I am courageous for having taken the step of immigrating. I'm doing something for me. I'm doing this to be able to actually grow. I'm going to get new experiences because of the fact that I've immigrated. I might meet new people who might actually take me forward in my life, who will bring joy, happiness. I might learn something new skills, new competencies. I might learn a new language, as an example. So even though from one perspective you might see all those things as challenges, I see those things, and I encourage you to also see these things as new opportunities for your own personal growth, and that's always a fantastic thing. Now, what else can we think? Now, oh yes, that's right. So, if you are at a time when you have hit the rock bottom, say that's week 6 or some other week, review the inspiration behind your relocation. The reason why you actually relocated in the first place. A little bit of time away, to just ponder on that question. You may have written it down as to the reason why you decided to immigrate. And reviewing that inspiration behind your relocation may actually give you that mental clarity of the practical step that you're seeking in order to get yourself out of the situation of, low vibration and low frequency emotions that you might be experiencing. And the last thing I would like to discuss before we move on to the speaking love section of part 2, in terms of thinking love. So if you are struggling, or you're finding yourself, doubting your whole decision as to your relocation, try and think and to identify the fears. What are you lacking right now? So, a lot of people might give you advice, and so will I, about try and think positive despite the challenges that you might be experiencing. But the breakthrough in my life sometimes occurs, it's not through the positive thinking, but actually trying to address the challenge head on. And a lot of the time, if you're struggling, there might be some feeling of lack, like you're lacking something in your life. So ask yourself, what am I lacking right now? What am I fearing? Where is this fear coming from? What is stemming from my emotions? What are my feelings telling me right now? Identify them. And think about them. You might wish to write them down. A bit of journaling might get your just thoughts out onto a piece of paper for you to actually effectively go through like a soul-searching experience to try and identify what those fears might be, and tackle them. The first the fact that you have undertaken the process of becoming aware of what that fear might be, or what the lack sensation is, that's you becoming aware the fact that is what's actually going on, which means that you can then move on to the next step, which is identifying what's the best practical way for you to tackle that fear or that sensation of lack, right? And one advice there, before we jump on to speaking love, is if you are unsure as to what the next practical step is for you to address the fear, pray for yourself, okay? Pray for yourself, or think well for yourself, address whoever it is that you believe in, what your faith is, whether it's yourself, you believe in yourself, or you believe in, God, Asna, angels, archangels, ancestors, spirits, Gaia, our planet. Just think and address, whoever it is that you believe in, and by asking to send some love your way, joy and happiness, emotions of positivity, or some physical evidence as to what you can do next practically in order to help yourself, get yourself out of the situation. And something else that you might be able to do is the fact that, once you have asked and prayed for some help to see how you can get out of this situation, well, you might be seeing some, literally physical signs whether there be new people entering your life, or messages through a book that you're reading, or pop-ups on your phone, or music. You might walk by a group of people and you might just hear one particular word or sentence and it just kind of resonates with you, or just even in your thoughts. Some random thoughts might come your way that might give you the boost that you need, or think about night dreams. Your night dreams might actually have the key to answering that question. So there are a variety of ways that the universe can communicate with you, so just pay attention to those. And ultimately, if you don't have anything else you might be asking for, here's an idea. Why don't you ask, and pray for the fact that these emotions that you might be experiencing, whatever they might be, are alleviated, they're remedied. Ask for help and assistance about, seeing if that kind of energy of those feelings and emotions can move away from your state. So I've had enough of them. I feel like I have identified the fact that I am not feeling the best at this point in time. I know something ought to change. Please help me, work through these emotions to figure out the way out. And, just even thinking about beautiful, white light or golden light throughout your whole self. Imagine you're in a bubble of beautiful white light or golden light, or a shower of golden light, and you're immersing yourself in that. Those sort of thoughts may prove useful to you, and I hope they really do resonate. Now, speaking love, so the most obvious thing that comes to mind is obviously investing your time and effort in learning a local language. In particular, if you move to a country that whose language is not what you normally speak or what your first language is, it will definitely, giving a go at a new language is a new experience, and by practicing it with people in your local community, be that the bakers in the baking shop that you went, or the people at the supermarket because you have to buy your food, or the workplace, will give you that sense of, you're trying, build your confidence a little bit more. It will give you, inspiration perhaps to do something else, to get out of your way. And, speaking the language is a beautiful thing, and learning one is also awesome. There's a lot of wonderful learning apps for learning languages, and lots of classes, workshops, I'm sure as well. But it's just a Google search away for you to be able to find that out. Now, I'm going to try and speed up just because I don't want this video to be too extremely long. So, maintaining connections with loved ones is another very important tip of advice, I guess, that I can share. So, there's your loved ones back home, extended family or friends are just a phone call away, right? We have amazing technology at the moment, Zoom, Teams, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, whatever it is that you use to be able to have that regular communication with the people who are back home, who you resonate with whom you can just share any kind of news or stories, and who will be there always to support you and back you up. So make sure you definitely get in touch with them, in particular if you're feeling those feelings of homesickness, and they will, I'm sure, a phone call, a meaningful phone call or video call with your loved ones will give you that boost of emotional support that you actually need. And something I want to share is actually a real example is to actually be open with your loved ones. Do talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and your loved ones will know if you're not telling them something. If you are going through the rut of low frequency emotions, share that with them, because through the communication, by getting it out, speaking to your loved ones, there's a lot of healing during that process that occurs for you, and your loved ones will be able to perhaps give you the support that you require during that time of need. And the last thing you want is to be the showing the fake persona situation where you're actually struggling, but you're putting on a brave face to your loved ones to say everything is great, everything's perfect, it's everything you always wanted and more, because if you want to adopt that strategy, that's fine. You have a free choice to do that. But my experience and experience of others, that fake persona can only last for for a certain period of time. It's actually most important, in my opinion, to be open and transparent. Talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly with the people with whom you can actually be vulnerable. And that might be the first step on your journey to healing and a bit of recovery, and taking up that step in the cycle of steadily going up and up and up after addressing the low emotions and the frequencies. Now I think it's a good time to talk about what are some things you can do to show love to yourself during the first quarter of immigration. And the word that it was actually popping up, I'll just turn this around. I know I'm over time, but it's such a great topic, and I'm sure it will be helpful to some of you out there. So when doing love, the word that came to my mind is discover, right? And you can discover in two ways. So there's the cultural integration part, whereby you actually go out and you immerse yourself in the local culture, local traditions, customs of the place that you have moved to, in order to better understand, experience on your skin what that culture and what those traditions actually are, in order for you to establish a connection with your local community, with the people who are there. Now, how do you go about doing that? Well, you open the door, close the door, and you go for a walk. I certainly suggest going for a walk rather than a drive, because when you go for a walk, in my personal experience, you actually familiarize with your local surroundings much better. You see the little shops that are around, you identify the people, familiar faces that may resonate over time and time, which would normally make you think, right, well, these must be my neighbors or local community who are here where I am living. Going for a walk, you might discover places that you might miss when you are driving. As an example, some hideout spots, lovely coffee shops, or a park, or an interesting artistic creative mural that you might just drive by if you're driving, but when you're walking you might actually stop and find a bench to look at things and observe things, and you might actually pick up on more interesting things literally around your community. And I found that when walking, because you're doing it at a slow pace compared to driving, you absorb a lot more information, and you might get the sense of familiarity much more quicker, and you might settle in, you might feel like you're more settled in as a result of that. So I definitely encourage people to go for a walk and discover your own surroundings, your local community, and just observe some local customs and traditions that occur around the place you're living. And the other way of actually discovering, or you seek out your own community and your own support. So try and find other people out there who may have come from your home, so wherever it is you're from, see if you can find out the community of the people around who have also must have immigrated in their life. Go to, if you are religious, go seek out a church or a temple, or where you can find the people that have similar values and principles as you, and you might find your sense of belonging there. You might want to also find out people who might not be from your place of, your home, but they might speak the same language as you. Your first language must be the same, so that at least you can communicate in the same language, and that will bring you lots of joy. Just being able to even talk in your own language and connect with the people who understand you. So with that in mind, I'm going to stop right there, and we're going to get into part 3 shortly. See you soon.